the knowledge, their expertise, and the economics with us, we never offered a welcoming gesture. So it's time this changes, and as you see, the king is always his official media, he himself, as well as his, intelligence agencies, which he still controls, like not the general intelligence agency, the so-called Royal Intelligence Agency, which is a small intelligence office.
Well,
Those people are always antagonizing Israel.
let me ask a question. If the king falls and you're in power, what do you see happening with the Temple Mount? Because at the moment the king is responsible for the Temple Mount. What happens after? First
of all, the king has no mandate. Nobody gave him any mandate to run Al-Aqsa Mosque or the wall or any of that holy shrine. The place is holy to both of us, Jews and Muslims, very holy. And I think our love for Jerusalem and love for the holy shrine, Al-Aqsa Temple Mount, could unite us into a different arrangement, which is fair, at least more fair than the current arrangement. We have no question. We cannot deny Israel's and the Jewish people's love and merit to the place, as well as is our love and merit to the place. So
what's Saudi Arabia's position? Do they have an interest in Temple Mount?
Saudi Arabia, we have to remember, the Hashemite regime has always been a cornerstone, a foundational problem on Al-Aqsa. And once we get rid of the Hashemite regime, hopefully through peaceful means, we can open the door for a new arrangement where Saudi Arabia could serve as a custodian. Saudi Arabia has served the two holiest Muslim shrines for the last 80-something years. The Saudis have the experience, the knowledge, and today the good intentions to run the place. I'll give you a very quick example. Saudi Arabia is literally at war with Iran. Saudi Arabia nonetheless allows up to 500,000 Iranian Shiite refugees, pilgrims to arrive and into Mecca each year. So that's 500,000 from the enemy side who actually follow what we Muslims believe is almost a different religion. There was never problems from the Saudi side. Saudi never blocked them from arriving or performing worship. So the Saudis, they have the experience and even, believe it or not, the tolerance of different ethnicities and religions on a Muslim holy shrine.
Well, let me ask you one more question about this, because I have my own idea that I'm putting forward, and I'd like to get your reaction to it. Namely, no one questions the Muslim right to manage their own holy sites, or for that matter, they shouldn't question the Jewish rights for their holy sites. As far as the Temple Mount is concerned, I think that no question Al-Aqsa Mosque is a holy site for Muslims, but similarly, the Temple Mount is a holy site for Jews. What are prospects of limiting the perimeter around the Al-Aqsa Mosque so that the mosque in that perimeter is what is holy to the Muslims, and allowing Israel to have full autonomy over the rest of the Temple Mount?
Well, first of all, any arrangement could never happen as long as the current King of Jordan and the Royal Hashemite family are in control of the mosque.
Right.
They have been a problem to us, a problem to you, a problem to the Palestinian Arabs in Jerusalem, a problem to the worshippers, and this has been documented by everyone, including the Israeli government itself.
Yeah.
So once we get rid of him, we can sit together under the patronage of Saudi Arabia. We need to involve the locals of Jerusalem, the local Arabs, and the local Jews, the natives of the land, to find a new arrangement. And Saudi Arabia could generously and happily, be a pattern, under the Saudi patronage. This could happen. Now, as far as the arrangements, we can't get to the nitty-gritty before we remove the biggest problem. But one thing is certain. We know that the Hashemites have been using the Temple Mount for political gain. We know they have been antagonizing the people. We know they pay money to the so-called women of the Waqf who stand at the gate and antagonize any Western non-Muslim trying to enter. We know that this has to end. And once the Hashemite rule ends, we need to remember that, first of all, they never had a mandate. Who's Jordan's king, really? He's not an Israeli. He's not a Jew. He's not a Palestinian Arab. He has no connection whatsoever to that holy piece of land. So we are better off arranging this with the Israelis, and we need someone as strong and legitimate in the Islamic world like the Saudis or the Crown Prince of Saudi to facilitate this, maybe temporarily or even in a different arrangement, have Saudi Arabia run the Muslim parts of the Holy Shrine. This is the only way forward.
Now, as you know, for the last couple of months, there's been talk about the Trump so-called peace plan. Arab papers have written it up. It's rejected by everybody. What's that all about?
Well, I know that President Trump has been doing everything to achieve an actual peace plan with all good intentions. On the other hand, what President Trump may have already found out is the other party, the Arab party involved, does not want peace. Because Abbas, Jordan's king, Erdogan, Qatar, all of Iran, they have thrived on war between the Palestinian Arabs and the Palestinian Jews, or the Israelis and the Arabs. So why would they want peace? Right now, the Americans are doing everything in the book to achieve a peace plan. Greenblatt, the president's envoy, peace envoy, is working very hard. Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, as well as President Sisi, are offering help. The only problem lies in Abbas and Jordan's policy. They are refusing any peace deal. Basically, Trump doesn't have a partner. And so it's not his fault.
This peace plan, if it's ever tabled, you expect to be stillborn?
It's already stillborn, because anything that could lead to factual peace is not in the interest of any of the parties involved from the Arab side. Like, who are they? Jordan, Palestinian Authority, Hamas, Erdogan, Turkey, and Qatar and Iran. All of those people, they see no interest in peace. Even if President Trump comes and gives them everything they could yearn for, they're still going to reject it, because they make their money, they butter their bread through war. Therefore, I really feel sorry for all the effort that the administration has been investing with all good intentions, because they don't have a partner.
Let me just ask a few more questions. Our time is running short. You know about the new direction that Mohammed bin Salman has taken in terms of ideology, in terms of normalizing and modernizing the religion. What are chances, do you think, of that coming to pass?
Very highly, because the source of all of the problems we've seen with the religion. Now, Islam has been around for 1400 years. Islam, there has been countless cases. For example, the minority, the non-Muslim minorities in the Muslim empires and world. Okay, they survived regardless whether they were dhimmis or abused at certain points, but they survived physically. On the other hand, the way the new Islam, the Islam created and manufactured by some of the Wahhabi radicals in Saudi Arabia and elsewhere, they want to kill all non-Muslims as well as other Muslims. So it shows you that this whole thing is new, new as in 100 century old, only 100 years old. Sorry, a century old, 100 years old. And now with bin Salman shutting down all the terrorists, shutting down all the hate preachers, shutting down the warmongers within the Wahhabi movement, it's a huge accomplishment. Bin Salman will go in history as a revival, as someone who was a modernizer of Islam, just like Martin Luther King or any of those, reformers.
And he was a partner in al-Sisi also, because a couple of years ago, al-Sisi also talked about reform.
Yeah, but President Sisi, with all his good intentions, he did his part by eliminating the Muslim Brotherhood. But President Sisi doesn't control Mecca and Medina, the two holiest shrines.
No, it's more important for Saudi Arabia. I'm just saying, he has al-Sisi as an ally, and so are you in that regard.
Natural ally. We need to restore our religion to what it was in the Holy Quran. The Holy Quran is very similar to the Torah, with whether you like it or not as a book, it's up to you. We believe in it. We think it's holy. The problems come from the extra texts which were introduced.
Yeah.
And those texts are literally ISIS ideology. It says that, for example, one text claims that we shouldn't be even saying hello to non-Muslims. This is like pure, crazy ideology. It's not in the Quran. Good or bad, we need to put an end to this. And the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia said it. We will destroy them. And I can assure you, there will be a huge step forward once we eliminate the Muslim Brotherhood movement in Jordan, once we take over. Right now, the king has put them in the government, in the parliament, in the security agencies. We will eliminate them and ban that terrorist movement, which is loyal to the king, on our first day in the job, just like Sisi did. This will be a huge breakthrough towards reform of Islam and creating a new setup between all of us in the region.
So where is the White House know? Do they know of you? Do they know of your activities? Where do they stand?
Well, we have no connections to either the Israeli or the American government. We're not in touch with them. We know that they would not want to interfere in Jordan. They're not interested in interfering, but we trust that they will intervene at the right time, and we also trust that the Jordanian people is the boss here. The Jordanian people, the people of Jordan, will call change and will determine who's the next leader.
When do you expect that change to take place? When are you hopeful?
If it doesn't take place sometime within the next very few months, we're expecting the worst. We're expecting Jordan to become another Syria, only worse. So the stakes are high. The threat is real.
You said like in just 3-4 months max.
I think by this summer, if the king.
Do the Jordanian people support you specifically, or is there a question of their loyalty to you as they want the king to abdicate?
We have no worries. Our people love us because they are Jordanians are some of in fact, the most intellectual Arabs are the Jordanians when it comes to percentage of degree holders and other things. We are fully confident that they will pick up the right leader. And in my case, as a temporary president of the temporary government, I think we have enough loyalty. We could mobilize the street and influence it. We are confident of loyalty and love of our people, not because they care for me or anyone else. They care for the future. And we, the Jordanian opposition coalitions, are the only one offering an alternative. It's not an issue of who's going to rule. It's an issue of our people having the final shot about who, when, and where. And all we're asking from the Americans and the Europeans or anyone else is just intervening in our support once we have made the change.
Okay.
As far as we're concerned, the American government is not involved. They don't want to get involved, and they won't interfere. Basically, President Trump won't do what Obama did with the Arab Spring, and that's a very wise decision from the president.
For sure. Well, on that note, I want to wrap up this wonderful interview. I think it's going to make headlines, and I wish you all the luck, and hopefully it'll happen. And together we'll make it happen. So,
Amen. Amen. Thank you very much, and God bless you and bless everyone in Israel, including Arab, Jews, and others. Thank you, and shalom.